Well, it's going to be looking a lot like Christmas. Well, I think it will be by this time next week. We're going to see very wintry conditions around the state of Michigan. And if you like to snowmobile, I think as you get up into northwestern lower Michigan, anywhere around the Great Lake effect areas, I think there's going to be some really good snowmobile conditions by as early as next Friday or Saturday. I think we could see up to a foot of snow or more across some of those areas. So again, if you want to get an early jump to your snowmobile season, I think next week you could be very safe if you head up towards the Traverse City, Kalkaska, Manton, up in that area, Gaylord, Grayling, maybe even down to Houghton Lake. Certainly a lot of snow is expected, I believe, here over the next week to 10 days. As far as headlines for the short term, looks like some scattered showers, light rain showers here today, maybe a few mixed in snowflakes. But I think a better chance of a little bit of snow will come Sunday. It's a warm advection, overrunning type situation, which the models tend to underdo. I think a pretty good bet for at least an inch, maybe a couple of inches, maybe even 2 to 3 inches across much of the area here as we get into later Sunday afternoon into Sunday night, early Monday morning. And then I think we have a pretty wet system maybe on Wednesday that could bring some rain, but it could end as snow as that cold air looks like it's going to come in a little quicker. And by Wednesday, temperatures could be very chilly and we could have some accumulating snow. We'll have to watch that Tuesday system coming out of the Gulf of Mexico very closely. And then I think for the second half of the week looks pretty stormy, windy, cold with snow showers, lake effect, a couple of systems coming through. I think much of the area could see snow on the ground. And again, by this time next week, it's going to look a whole lot different and it's going to feel a whole lot different. If we look at the normals for the day, our normal high is 38, the normal low is 22. You can see 10 years ago we had 3 inches of snow on this date. And if we look at the nation's highs and lows yesterday across the lower 48, the warmest temperature 90 degrees at Stewart, Florida, and the cold spot 9 degrees at Sunrise Mountain in Arizona. And that's a spot I'm going to be Googling. I know there's a trough out there, but still that seems awfully cold. But certainly that could be an interesting location to look up. If we look at conditions around the area yesterday, you can see the highest temperature only 43 at Middleton and Clarksville, the low spot with 33, and they also picked up 11/100ths of an inch of mixed rain and snow. And for the month so far, just getting started, but we're warm, but that's going to change by this time next week. If we look at conditions around the area this morning, you can see temperatures mainly in the 30s across the area with plenty of cloud cover. And if you look up here, you can see if you want to find out all the snow information, click on this link. It'll take you right initially to the Breckenridge snowfall, where we have very extensive data on that. And then there'll also be a lot of links that shows some of the snowfall amounts across the different portions of lower Michigan and how they compare to normal, and my forecast for how much snow each of these locations I expect to get as well. If we look at the next shot, you can see the satellite view this morning. You can see that pesky upper low that's bringing the cooler air and troughing into the Great Lakes. Again, that'll slowly be moving off, and we're going to watch moisture gather up across the southern part of the state, or the U.S., and again, that's going to move northward as some warm air tries to push this way, and cold air will be settled into the Great Lakes, and that's going to cause that overrunning snow as we get into later Sunday. If we look at the radar map, you can see just some areas of lake effect and some rain showers associated with that trough across the Great Lakes. The only other action is down across the southern part of Florida and up there in the Pacific Northwest. But again, enjoy this relatively calm weather map and radar map because it's going to be getting very busy as we get into next week. If we look at the low-level wind flows, you can see obviously that cooler air coming in across the north as we're being dominated by troughing right now, and that's a very slow system to move off. And if we look at the weather map for this morning, you can see low pressure system well off to our northwest, but it's still pinwheeling some upper waves through the region. That's what's causing some of the lake effect and some of the rain showers across the Great Lakes. High pressure system off to our west. And again, all this moisture across the southwest part of the U.S. is going to be gathering up, and it's going to be moving towards the Great Lakes as we get into late this weekend. And you can see on tomorrow's weather map, again, we've got a system off to the northwest. It's going to be sliding east. It's going to allow this moisture to overrun into the cool air. And as we get into Sunday, you can see snow is going to break out across much of the Midwest into the Great Lakes. And again, this will be predominantly snow for much of the MAC area. Again, we're not expecting anything heavy. In fact, the models say about an inch. But these things are usually, again, much more productive in the way of snowfall than what the models indicate. So it's not going to surprise me to see somebody get 2 to 4 inches of snow. But overall, we'll play it conservative and say about an inch, maybe 2 inches. and we'll just see what happens. And if we look at the snowfall indicated by the GFS, this is over the next 96 hours. You can see a pretty extensive area of around an inch of snow. Again, with the winds coming off the southwest out ahead of the system, we'll pick up a little bit of extra moisture downwind from Lake Michigan, allowing for about 1 to 3 inches of snow in some of those areas. And as far as the Canadian model, you can see about 1 to 2 inches as well there. And if we look at the next 10 days, a lot of snowfall again across northwest lower Michigan, and even for the rest of the state. Certainly some very substantial accumulations going to whiten up the ground here, and you can see the Canadian even more bullish with the snow, up to 10, 11 inches of snow in the Saginaw Valley. Not sure that's going to be that much, but again, it's definitely going to be changing. The European model also in good agreement with that. You can see precipitation on the GFS over the next 16 days, pretty significant. And if we look at the extended outlook for the 6 to 10, 8 to 14 days, lots of cold air beginning to move across the country. This is a great pattern for snow, and it's going to be pretty busy again across the northern tier with lots of precipitation in the 6 to 10 and the 8 to 14 days. And as far as weather watch, nothing out there right now, but tune in about a week from now and it should be quite a bit more active. In fact, probably by the middle of next week. Thanks for stopping by and have yourself a great day, a great weekend, and 73s to all.